After 7 straight losses at Wrigley Field, the Pirates beat the Cubs 8-2 to keep them within range of Philadelphia. Meanwhile, the red-hot Phillies extended their winning streak to 7 games with a doubleheader sweep of the Expos here in Montreal. So as the Pirates and Expos open a crucial series, the Pirates find themselves 3 games in Philadelphia, with the Expos in 3rd place, 4 games out. Lights are shining on the Pirates and Expos, but they may be saving the red-hot spotlights for Philadelphia. At this point, with just 9 games remaining in the schedule, the Pirates and Expos meeting at Olympia Stadium tonight. Philadelphia Phillies Steve Carlson to the search of career victory number 300 against the St. Louis Cardinals at Busch Stadium. Hi, friends, and a very pleasant good evening. Along with Jim Rooker and John Sanders, this is Lanny Fratteri. 3 games back, 9 to play. Is manager Chuck Tanner giving up? You better believe he is not.
You know him better than that. He's not giving up at all. He figures everything's okay because we've got to stay even with Philadelphia until next Friday when the Bucks go into Veterans Stadium to play the final 3 games of the regular season against the Philadelphia Phillies. He figures, and I think rightfully so, if we can make it to that point, no more than 3 games behind, certainly we still have a shot. And with 9 games remaining, anything can happen. But let's give some credit to the Phillies. They've done a heck of a job down the stretch. They've won 7 in a row. They've just about eliminated everybody else. The Expos are hanging on. The Pirates are, I think, in a little better shape than Montreal, but this weekend could have a big bearing on that.
By the way, it may be the M squads that have a bearing on the pennant race. I'm speaking, of course, of Joe Morgan of the Phillies and the fact that Bill Madlock has not been in the Pirate lineup consistently the last month of the season.
Well, that's true, but then let's give some credit to Richie Hebner, who's had something like 13 hits and 26 at-bats in the month of September, filling in. Certainly between Richie and Jim Morrison, they've done a very good job of replacing Bill Madlock. Of course, Bill would love to be in there, and the Pirates would like to have him.
Here's what's remaining. We mentioned earlier the Pirates spending the weekend here in Montreal, so the Bucks will play 3 with Montreal, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week against the Mets at Shea Stadium, or at Three Rivers Stadium, rather, and then the final 3 at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. For the St. Louis Cardinals, they, of course, are home this weekend to get to the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies will be in Chicago Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, and then home to the Pirates. For Montreal, they do not have the advantage of playing the Phillies after losing the doubleheader last night. Montreal, home to the Pirates this weekend, then in St. Louis Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, and then the Expos finish up in New York. It does appear as if the folks here in Montreal are really down on this Expo ball club.
Well, right now, they had over 47,000 last night, a screaming, roaring type crowd, and they went home totally empty. And I think the Expos were pretty honest about it when it was over. They said the Phillies just came in here and did a job on them last night, and it was as simple as that.
Okay, well, let's check on the starting pitchers. Scott Sanderson for the Expos and Rick Rhoden for the Pirates. And Jim Rooker is downstairs talking with Rick Rhoden. Jim?
Pitching always seems to be 80 to 90% of the game. Rick Rhoden pitching tonight for the Pirates against the Expos. Rick, kind of a burden on you. How do you feel about it?
Well, I'm glad to go out there. I've had some pretty good games against the Expos in the past, and you know, they got me last week, but I thought I threw pretty well, and hopefully tonight I can turn it around and get them. They have an explosive team with a lot of speed, and the key is keeping the reins off the base path.
What about the no windup? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I just started doing it a couple starts ago, and basically I did it for 2 reasons. I think it helped me keep my weight back a little and had a little better breaking ball. And the other reason was to hide my pitches a little. I think I might have been giving my pitches away, sometimes going over the top of my head, and this way there's no way they can pick up my pitches.
Did you ever feel that because you didn't go to the full windup, you might lose something off your stuff?
Well, that was my main concern. I was wondering whether or not it would affect that. But when I threw in between, it seemed like I had out, a good stuff and maybe a little better. So I think the time, pitching is timing, and I think this way I have a little better timing.
What about something else that has not taken place this year? It doesn't seem like the umpires are giving you the shakedown as much as they were in the past.
Well, I don't know. The last couple of years they've really been on my case, and this year only a couple times. So I don't know. Maybe they know they've tried to bother me before with it, and it doesn't seem to affect me too much. It just slows the game down. So I don't let it affect me anymore.
Well, let's hope things work well for you tonight. It's a big one tonight. It's the Pirates and the Expos.
Pirate Baseball is sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch St. Louis, brewers of Michelob. Some things speak for themselves. By Nissan, builders of high-mileage, high-quality cars and trucks for 50 years. Available at your Datsun dealer. By Atari, maker of real sports video games. So real, they'll make your muscles ache. And by Thrift Drug, the only place you get our extra service.
Some things speak for themselves.
We're your Atari headquarters. Now get ready to think fast. These hits from Atari are built for speed. Try Ms. Pac-Man. She's more than just Pac-Man with a bow, with 4 different mazes, floating fruit, and pretzels. And Galaxian, an arcade favorite with wave after wave of alien attackers. There's no space for error. Here's Centipede. Its spiders and fleas will drive you buggy. They're here now, so hurry in. Before I run out. For fast-acting, long-lasting fun, reach for Atari.
Let's go see the Bucks in 1984. You know, it's not too early to order your 1984 Pirate season tickets. It's a great way to entertain your family, clients, and friends all summer long. The Pirates have a season ticket plan to suit your needs at an affordable price, and there's sure to be plenty of thrills and excitement at Three Rivers in 1984, as there has been in 1983. So why not call 323-5028 and ask for further details on Pirate season tickets and come see the Bucks in 1984. They've not written the final chapter in 1983. The Bucks with 9 games left, and manager Chuck Tanner will send this lineup against Scott Sanderson. Marvell Wynn will be leading off and playing center field. Johnny Ray batting second and playing second base. Dave Parker's hitting third. He'll be in right field. Jason Thompson in the cleanup spot at first base. Mike Easler will bat number 5 and play left field. Tony Pena doing the catching and batting 6th. Richie Hebner at third base, batting 7th. Dale Berra is the shortstop for manager Chuck Tanner. He'll be batting 8th, and Rick Rhoden will be on the mound and batting 9th. Once again for the Pirates, it's Wynn, Ray, and Parker, Thompson, Easler, and Pena, Hebner, Berra, and Rhoden. Bill Burden's ball club and Scott Sanderson on the mound, with Rhoden going for the Pirates. The Expos line up this way. Tim Range leading off and playing left field. Brian Little will be batting second and playing second base. Andre Dawson in center field hitting third. Al Oliver batting 4th and playing first base. Tim Wallach at third base batting 5th. Terry Francona hitting 6th in right field. Doug Flynn at shortstop batting 7th. Bobby Ramos will do the catching. Gary Carter not in the lineup. Ramos batting 8th. And Scott Sanderson batting 9th and pitching. Once again, it's Range, Little, and Dawson. Oliver, Wallach, and Francona. Flynn, Ramos, and Sanderson. John, what about Scott Sanderson?
Lanny, his record is 6-6 with 1 save as he comes into the game tonight, making his 16th start, his second against the Pirates in a week. It was last Sunday in Three Rivers that Scott Sanderson defeated the Pirates. The final was 5-2. The opposing pitcher that day was also Rick Rhoden. Scott's earned run average as he comes in is 4.20. He has given up 10 home runs this year and 95 hits in a total of 79 and a third innings. Scott Sanderson, 6'5", 200-pounder, ready to go against the Pirates tonight.
And we're ready to go tonight with a jackpot of $600. We'll have 3 Giant Eagle Grocery home run sweepstakes innings for you. $600 will be the jackpot in our first home run jackpot inning. So stay with us for all the home run sweepstakes excitement. And Marvell Wynn will start things off for the Pirates. Bucko center fielder with an 8-game hitting streak, batting .249. 7 home runs, 25 runs batted in. And Sanderson starts off with a breaking pitch, and Frank Pulley punches out the first strike of the game. Base umpires are Doug Harvey at first, Jerry Crawford at second, Eric Gregg at third. Ramos set up inside, and Sanderson did not get the call. It's 1-1. Pirate coaches Jolin at third, Al Monchak at first, Bob Skinner and Harvey Haddix alongside manager Chuck Tanner in the dugout, and Grant Jackson, the Pirates bullpen coach. Curveball bounced foul territory. So it was a breaking pitch, then a fastball that missed inside, and then a breaking pitch, 1-2. Sanderson, out of Vanderbilt University, signed with Montreal in June of '77, came to the big leagues in August of '78, and recorded his first major league complete game in shutout when he beat the Bucks and Bruce Keeson on a 3-hitter. That was September 24th, 1978, 5 years ago, almost to the day. Ramos sets up outside. Foul back.
Lanny, you asked me how the fans in Montreal felt after the doubleheader sweep. I think the fact that right behind home plate there are a couple of fellows with bags over their heads will give you an idea of how some of the fans reacted. You know, I get a feeling here that a lot of people are saying, well, once again, we were the best team on paper, and once again, the Expos have come up short.
A lot of the preseason predictions favored the Expos, no question about it. And when you look at a lineup that includes Gary Carter and Al Oliver and Andre Dawson, and then you add Manny Trio to that lineup. Timmy Raines, of course, very impressive. And a pitching staff with Charlie Lee and Bill Gullickson, Steve Rogers, all three winning over 15 games. This is with a breaking pitch, and it's 2-2. Scott Sanderson. It's the one-hitter against the San Francisco Giants in May of 1979. This year was on the disabled list from early July to early September because of a thumb injury. Tried to stink the fastball by Marvell Wynn and fouled back out of play. We're just underway. Should be quite a weekend of baseball.
And there they are. Obviously the disgruntled Expo fans.
Two balls and two strikes on Wynn. Fouled away.
Either that or it's two guys from Pittsburgh who aren't supposed to be here, and we're afraid they'd be on TV.
We'll keep you informed of the Phillies and Cardinals tonight. They'll be starting, in about 45, 50 minutes. Steve Carlton against Joaquin Andujar in the game at Busch Stadium. Sanderson misses high through the changeup, and it's 3-2.
Seems like Marvell has been up there forever, doesn't it?
He's fouled off quite a few pitches, and once again now the 3-2 pitch. Fastball just missed. Well, the Pirates have the leadoff hitter of the game on. Sanderson, walking only his 18th batter, came into this game averaging less than 2 walks per 9 innings of work. Now the batter, Johnny Ray. And Johnny Ray enjoyed the final game of the year in Chicago. He had 4 hits yesterday, as did teammate Richie Hebner. Ray batting .277, 5 home runs, and 49 runs batted in. Pirates are 2-2 on the road trip. Could very easily be 4-0. A game that got away Monday in New York, and the game on Wednesday in Chicago. The Bucks had the lead 6-5. Cubs battled back and won at the 7th, 7-6. Oliver holding Wynn on at first. Chases Marvell back. You could hear Al Monchak keeping an eye on the base runner. Johnny Ray 7 for 19 on the road trip. Bouncer, right field line. Marvell Wynn around second on his way to third. And the Pirates have runners at first and third. Nobody out on the top of the first inning.
One of those artificial surface high hoppers over the head of Al Oliver, the first baseman of the Expos. No way he could climb the ladder to get it. The pitch, they wanted it away, and it is away. Johnny had to go out and pull it, and in doing so, he drove it straight down into the artificial surface, and it hops over Oliver's head for a base hit.
Now the advantage for the Pirates having Marvell win on. Had the Bucks not had the base runner, Oliver would have been back at a more normal position and would have handled that ground ball rather easily. Here's Dave Parker. Dave batting .281 with 12 home runs and 64 RBIs. Dave is 8 for 18 on the road trip. And the Montreal infield back at double play depth. Shortstop Flynn, second baseman Little. Foul ball, strike one.
So the Expos are willing to concede the early run to keep out of the big inning at this point.
Wallach's at third with the shortstop Doug Flynn, and Brian Little at second base. First baseman Oliver holding Johnny Ray on. Big weekend series between the Dodgers and the Braves, and they're starting in Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. Jerry Royce 11-11 against Len Barker 1-2. Low and inside. The Dodgers lead Atlanta by 4.5 games in the National League West. Big story out of LA today. Left-hander Steve Howe has been suspended indefinitely by the Dodgers for failure to catch the team charter to Atlanta and for refusing to undergo medical tests. No score, top of the first. 1-1 pitch to Parker. Strike outside corner.
Dave did not think so.
How can you tell? Sanderson with that big roundhouse breaking pitch, and according to Frank Pulley, just did float in over the strike zone. 1-2. Runners at first and third. No score in the first inning. Fastball stays high, 2-2. Sanderson struggling to get his pitches down here in the first inning. Marvell Wynn led off the inning, walked on a 3-2 pitch. He's now at third. Johnny Ray bounced a single over the head of Oliver at first. Parker batting with Thompson on deck. Two-two pitch. Fastball fouled away. Jason Thompson batting in the number 4 spot. Mike Easler, who's done well in his career against the Expos, will be batting 5th tonight. Game 2 of this series tomorrow afternoon. Game 3 on Sunday. The Bucks are home Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. And then 3 games in Philadelphia. Two and two. Swing and a miss. Sanderson strikes out Parker. And one away in the Pirate first inning.
I think Dave got a pitch he thought he could handle, and he swung right through it and missed. Sanderson going back to the fastball on that pitch and got him.
Good location. Looked like he got the ball in on Dave's fists, and now the batter, Jason Thompson. Jason batting .256, 17 home runs, 70 RBIs. And Jason with 998 career hits. Marvell Wynn still waiting patiently at third. Johnny Ray is the runner at first with 1 out. Here's the pitch. And Sanderson's off-speed breaking pitch stays high. Ball 1, and Bobby Ramos goes out in front. Again, trying to urge Sanderson to keep the ball down.
Well, we've seen him throw that pitch several times, and it's either been high or it's been up in the strike zone when it has gotten across.
And somebody in the Pirate dugout apparently getting on Frank Pulley. You could hear Frank Pulley say, "You're not talking to me, are you?" And then Frank said, "I'll throw you out of here." Oh boy, Eastern Division race heating up. Tempers getting a little short here in the first inning. Stays high, 2 balls, no strikes.
You know, the weather here, it rained very hard starting about 6 o'clock tonight. And I expected it to be quite cold, but it is not bad.
Not at all.
Actually, they said it warmed up a little bit. I figured it would have cooled off last night after the chill that Philadelphia left on this place.
Yes, indeed. Runners at first and third. And ball 3.
Now, that pitch looked better than the one he called a strike on Dave Parker.
Oh, you're going to get on Mr. Pulley early yourself, huh?
No. Think he can kick me out of here?
3-0. Here's Sanderson's pitch. Comes with a fastball. It's in for a called strike.
You know, I like the way he calls strikes, so I wonder if he's ever KO'd a catcher.
He comes pretty close, doesn't he? I was talking with Jason the other day, and I said, Jason, obviously you've heard the criticism that you take too many pitches. He said, well, maybe sometimes I do, but I feel I have a philosophy that I picked up from Rusty Staub early in my career, that first pitch has got to be in my zone. So he will take a strike, fouled away, and it's 3-2. Now you have to expect Johnny Ray to be running on this pitch. Pirates want to stay out of a double play. Frank Pulley, home plate umpire. He's trying to determine set the rules down right early as to who's going to control today's game.
I don't think there's any question about that.
Now let's keep an eye on Johnny Ray, see if he's running on this 3-2 pitch with one out. I think he's going. There he goes, 3-2 pitch, foul back.
I guess the thinking, if you came back at Jason, would be, okay, if you do that, that's your approach, you automatically put yourself behind one strike if it's not in your zone. Wouldn't that in turn cut down then on the things you can look for?
That's very true, and I think Jason feels, and again the philosophy that he picked up early from Rusty Staub is that it's really not going to be that bad if you're down a strike. 3-2. And Sanderson bluffs to third, then looks to first, and nothing going. Marvell Wynn led off the inning and walked. Moved to third on the Johnny Ray single, and Parker struck out. Ray is going, 3-2 pitch, ball 4, bases loaded. It's a second walk of the inning.
Well, he does take some pitches, as you mentioned, and the result is a lot of walks. As a matter of fact, Jason Thompson most of the year has been second, continues to be second in the National League in walks.
But now 29 behind Mike Schmidt.
Yeah. So it's not real close.
All right, bases loaded with one out, and Mike Easler the batter. Now Mike Easler back in 1980 was 6 for 15 with 3 home runs off Scott Sanderson, and then Mike was 2 for 6 with a home run off Sanderson in 81. But last year Mike was 0 for 9 against this Montreal right-hander. Bases loaded, one out, no score. That high breaking pitch, Easler went after it, strike one.
Well, he's thrown 1 or 2 of those to almost every Pirate batter so far, and Easler decided to go after one.
By the way, Mike is 1 for 3 against Sanderson this year, so career-wise, the hitman is 9 for 33 against Sanderson, with 4 career home runs off him. One strike on Easler. Bobby Ramos again telling his right-hander, keep it down. Got it up. Easler drives it to right field. Back Francona. It is gone. A grand slam. Sanderson got it up. Easler put it up and out. And the Pirates take a 4-0 lead. The hitman's second grand slam of the year. Go ball, and indeed it did.
You know, Lanny, you called it almost before the ball went over the fence because of the fact that he did get it up. The ball was right in Easler's alley, and he really drilled it. There was not much question about whether or not it was going to go out.
Watch this. This is a thing of beauty, at least from a Pirate standpoint. Hitman kept his head in and got the hands out in front. So the grand slam, Mike Easler had the grand slam against the Atlanta Braves soon after he came off the disabled list. Mike now with 10 home runs and 54 runs batted in, a 4-0 Pirate first inning lead. Tony Pena backed away from the plate, ball one.
It's almost like the time they asked the guy about the home run and they said, did you know it was gone when you hit it? And the guy said, I knew it was gone when he threw it.
There's Pops. He joined our ball club late yesterday. Willie Stargell, and a conversation between Jason Thompson and Larry McWilliams. Couple of walks, singled by Ray, grand slam for Easler. Boy, the Pirates have been on a grand slam tear of late. Tony Pena batting .296, 13 home runs, 66 runs batted in. 5th Pirate Grand Slam of the year. The 4th Pirate Grand Slam in the month of September. Easler with 2, Hebner and Wynn had Grand Slams in consecutive games last week. Galen Cisco going to the mound.
And Frank Pulley will head to the dugout. For what purpose, we do not know.
Not sure at all. Have a score in from Atlanta, and the Dodgers have a 1-0 first inning lead. LA 1, Atlanta coming to bat. There's a light on in right field out behind the fence. Maybe that's the problem.
But I wonder if that's high enough to be seen from ground level.
I don't know. Vern Rapp, he's dialed the right number, and now Frank Pulley is pointing something out to someone somewhere that he has a problem. That's the light in right field, but John, good point. I'm not sure whether that is whether you can see that from ground level or not. Left-hander Chris Welch and right-hander Greg Barger in the Montreal bullpen. Pirates 4 and the Montreal Expos yet to come to bat. 3 balls and a strike. Tony Pena 4 for 9 in the 2-game series at Wrigley Field.
It was a little cool in Wrigley, wasn't it?
Yes. Strike inside corner, full count.
Some of the tape that we saw from Wrigley Field, you tell the players were battling a little bit to keep warm.
Both those games started with temperatures in the low 50s. 3-2 pitch. Pena drive left field. Go, boy, it is gone. Back-to-back dingers for Easler and Pena, and the Pirates have a 5-0 lead.
Tim Raines did not move. He took a couple of steps to his right and just looked up and watched the ball go, because Tony got all of that one for number 14.
On a 3-2 pitch from Scott Sanderson.
Think he was sitting on that fastball?
Yes, he was. 5 runs on 3 hits in the inning. And the batter, Richie Hebner. Well, as we said at the top of the telecast, no way that this Pirate ball club feels that it's over. Granted, 3 down with 9 to play, but this club would love to see it come down to the final 3 games. Of course, if you're going to be 2 out or 3 out, it's pretty much the same situation. You still have to win 3. The ball got out of the Montreal bullpen, and Terry Francona must chase it down.
Well, Lanny, the one thing that you and I both learned over the years about this ball club is that you cannot take anything for granted, one way or the other.
There are too many winners on this club, and again, Frank Pulley is on the telephone. Frank, if you want that light turned off, from our point, everything's fine with us, Frank. You can keep the game going if you'd like. I'll tell you what, if that light is shining in the Pirates' eyes, not bothering them at all. That may not be the problem. We'll have to double check.
You know what he's saying, though. He's saying, how many times I told you not to call me at work?
Richie Hebner waiting patiently at home plate for Frank Pulley.
He'll be tired. He's run back and forth so many times.
Richie's got that quizzical look on his face. Well, this is a lot of fun so far, isn't it?
It's been a delight to this point.
There's a strike, 1-1. Marvell Wynn led off the game and walked. Johnny Ray singled, moving Wynn to third. Parker struck out. Thompson walked. That loaded the bases, and then Mike Easler hit the grand slam, and then Tony Pena with a solo home run.
And the ball is out on the field again. The Pirates are hitting him over the fence, and the relief pitchers are throwing him up against the wall.
The 11 o'clock news might be a little late tonight, folks. 1-1 on Hebner.
What inning is this now?
And we're just in the top of number 1. 1-1 pitch. And Sanderson still struggling to get the ball down. 2-1. Sanderson has given up 98 hits this year. 12 of the 98 have been home runs. Right field. Francona's on the run. Diving catch in the right field corner. What a play by Terry Francona.
A great catch by Francona takes extra bases away from Richie Hebner. Richie pulling the ball. He hit one like this in Wrigley Field yesterday that dropped for a double. Now watch Francona leave his feet. Right at the tip of his glove, he drags it in.
Great catch by Francona. 2 down on the Pirate first. And that brings the Montreal folks to their feet. Here's Dale Berra. Dale batting .255, 10 home runs and 51 runs batted in. Pirates 5, Montreal nothing, top of the first. Sanderson breaking pitch, got it down, strike 1. We'll pause 5 seconds for station identification. It's great to have you with us on the Pittsburgh Pirates Television Network.
KDK TV2 Pittsburgh.
And Dale Berra, it's a fly ball to center field. Andre Dawson hauls it in. So for the Pittsburgh Pirates, 5 runs on 3 hits. Grand slam for Easler and a solo home run for Tony Pena. Turn on your heart lights. The Pirates have a 5-0 lead. Then we'll be back in just a moment.
Why do 100,000-mile flyers choose United?
When I invented the Hobie Cat, I helped a lot more people to enjoy the coast of California. Now United does the same thing, with more flights to the West Coast than any other airline.
United flies to 30 cities in the West every day, including L.A. and San Francisco.
With all this service, plus advanced check-in, United makes doing business in California a real pleasure.
People who fly for a living by United's friendly skies.
Ford Truck Week is on now, the biggest Ford truck sales event of the year. Get special Ford Rangers 84 pickups at a breakthrough $83 price. Get Explorer pickups with free air conditioning, a big $733 value. Ford Truck Week is on. Get great factory closeout savings on tough '83 Ford vans, Broncos, and full-size pickups, all with great clearance prices. Get sky-high deals at your Ford dealer now. But hurry, they're going fast during Ford Truck Week.
Stadium in Montreal, bottom of the first inning. Rick Rhoden goes to the mound with a 5-0 lead.
And Rick goes to the mound with a record of 11 wins and 13 losses, 1 save so far this year. This is start number 34 for Rick. He has been a workhorse, 227 1/3 innings this year. He's in the top 10 in innings pitched and in strikeouts. Rick has struck out 144, and for him that's an all-time season high. His earned run average is 3.21. He pitched against Montreal last Sunday in Three Rivers, and Scott Sanderson came out a 5-2 loser. Right now he's up by 5. One thing I was thinking, Lanny, when Terry Francona made that great catch, he almost got a standing ovation here from the fans at Olympic Stadium. When the other team has scored 5 and hit 2 home runs in the top of the first, I think a great catch to save a double deserves a standing ovation, right?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And Rick Rhoden getting ready here in the bottom of the first inning.
I think Rick has kind of been the hard luck pitcher this year as far as the Pirates staff is concerned. He's pitched some excellent baseball at times and gotten some tough breaks. It seems like, if you recall, last year's problem was he'd go along for like 4 or 5 innings and all of a sudden everything would fall apart totally for him. And he's run into just certain bad spells that have hurt him over the course of the year.
One thing for Rick, 227 innings. That is 8th best in the league. And that's a plus. And, you know, I think some of that responsibility and congratulations has to go to the Pirate training corps because they've kept almost the entire staff very healthy the year. Here's Tim Raines leading off the bottom of the first. Tony Bartolome and Kent Biggerstaff working in close tandem and keeping those arms in shape. Tim Raines batting .299, 10 home runs, 67 RBIs.
I think you make a good point, Lanny, because Roden has pitched more innings than anybody else in the ball club, but Larry McWilliams not far behind at 226. You've got John Candelaria closing in on 200 innings. He's at 192. And Lee Tunnell, the rookie, has pitched 161 innings.
It's in Candy's case, I don't think he's missed a start. He did have a start pushed back, but you know, with the history of injuries that John has had in the past, you'd almost expect that at some point he would miss a couple of starts.
Well, is it not correct that when you get up around 200 innings or over, you've put in a pretty good year's work in Major League Baseball,
yes,
right?
That's very true. Down low, 3-1 to Raines. Here's Tony Barterone sitting alongside Willie Stargell, in between Willie and Don Robinson. Now Raines walks. The important thing for Rick right here is to go right at the Montreal hitters. He's got a 5-0 lead.
And you know, he's just a little disgusted with himself. He said before the game, and telling Jim Rooker there at the start of the program tonight, that the key to this ball club is keeping Raines off the base, and he's just walked him to start the bottom of the first.
Pirates were successful at even though Raines got on consistently in that series in Montreal last weekend. Raines was on base 4 times against De Leon in the Friday game a week from tonight, and Raines did not score. And then Timmy Raines was on base twice in the Saturday game that Lee Tunnell started, and again Raines did not score. But then it caught up with Rick Roden in the first inning of the game on Sunday, as Raines walked in the first inning of that game and scored a run. Brian Little, switch-hitting second baseman, batting .247 with a home run and 32 RBIs. Manny Trio not in the lineup. Pirates 5 and the Expos nothing, bottom of the first. Little showing bunt, and Little very good with that bat in terms of bunts. He has quite a few bunt singles.
He's considered probably the best butter in the National League, is Brian Little. Rick Roden now has thrown 7 pitches in this ball game, and 6 of them have been out of the strike zone.
Update from Atlanta: the Dodgers have a 1-0 lead over the Braves after 1 inning of play. Jerry Royce against Len Barker. And Little shows bunt, and it's ball 3. Grand slam for Mike Easler in the top of the inning, and then a solo home run for Tony Pena. A 5-0 Pirate lead. Raines at first, nobody out. Strike, 3-1.
And walks have not been a problem for Rick Roden. In his last 19 starts, for example, he's only walked 34 batters, and 9 of those were intentional. So 15 unintentional passes in his last 19 games. 19 starts.
Walked Raines to start the inning. Now 3-1 to Brian Little. And it's a full count. Tim Raines, 83 stolen bases. Raines is attempting to become the first player since Luis Aparicio to lead the league in steals each of the first 3 seasons. Aparicio did it in the American League 1956, 57, and 58. And it looks like Raines will do it. 83 stolen bases. He's going on the 3-2 pitch, and it's popped up. Shortstop Berra, camped out by second base, makes the catch. 1 down. Raines back to first.
And credit to Rick Roden. He was down 3-0 on the count, and he battled back to get Brian Little and keep Raines from getting something started. Raines obviously in good shape as far as the race is concerned this year for stolen bases. Alan Wiggins is second at 59, so he has a comfortable lead with just 10 days remaining in the season.
And the final week and a half, will Andre Dawson make a run at a Triple Crown this year? Dawson is 6th in the league with a .309 average, 3rd in the league with 32 home runs, and 2nd in the league with 111 RBIs. Bill Madlock and Jose Cruz are tied for the league lead. .325 batting averages. Pirates 5, Expos nothing, bottom of the first. Dawson takes a strike.
I think it's a little too much of a hill for him to climb to win the Triple Crown, but I would not be surprised if he's not the National League MVP.
Good possibility. Foul ball. It's 0-2. A poll earlier this summer Among major league players, Dawson was the top vote getter for all-around best in the league.
Now, when he first came up, the one thing that he couldn't do very well is throw, and he's worked on that. He's worked on his outfield play, and he has really improved his throwing.
Raines is running, did not get a good jump. He slipped a bit, throw to second base, and Raines is in safely. Raines had a little bit of trouble with his footing as he came out of the first base dirt area.
The pitch was just off the corner. Tony's throw. Johnny Ray covering. And they say he got under the glove before Johnny could get the tag down. That's Jerry Crawford at second base who made the call.
Interesting, Johnny Ray took that throw behind second. Wasn't straddling the base or in front of it. That's stolen base number 84 for Raines. 1-2 on Dawson. Fouled back.
One of the raps against Andre Dawson prior to this year was that he did not hit the ball well with men on base and men in scoring position. The 111 RBIs, first time in his career he's ever gone over 100 RBIs.
And he's batting .283 this year with runners in scoring position. By the way, the 111 RBI is a new Montreal club record, as are the 32 home runs. 2-2. Pirates getting 5 runs in the top of the inning. Easler grand slam, Pena solo home run. And here in the bottom of the first, Raines walked, stole second after Little popped up. Check swing. They checked with first base umpire Doug Harvey, but Harvey said no. Dawson did not go, and it's 3-2. Rick, after his start against Montreal, I asked him on Monday when we were in New York, I said, well, how did the new delivery work yesterday, meaning Sunday? And he said, well, I don't know. I was working out of the stretch most of the day. 3-2 pitch. Fouled back. It turned out that in the game that Rick pitched against the Expos last Sunday, Montreal got the leadoff hitter in the first 4 innings on. Three balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Pirates 5, Expos nothing, bottom of the first. Check swing. Billy DeMars, formerly the third base coach of the Phillies, coaching at third for the Expos. And Vern Rapp is the coach at first.
Former manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, right?
And the gentleman who was quoted as saying after Templeton's first year in the big leagues, let's wait and see if he does it consistently before we call him a superstar. Swing and a miss by Dawson. Strikeout number 1 for Roden, 2 down.
How'd you like that battle between Roden and Andre Dawson? It was a good one. I think Rick got a little bit of a break on that 3-2 pitch that was fouled away on the check swing. Looked like the ball was going to be out of the strike zone, and he came back and then got him on the swinging strike.
By the way, Rick has been successful against Dawson this year. Andre's just 1 for 12 against Roden. Al Oliver, the batter. Scoop hitting .300 with 8 home runs and 79 runs batted in. Oliver has the 9th best batting average in the league and takes a strike. Pirates 5, Expos nothing, bottom of the first. The Phillies are in St. Louis tonight. Steve Carlton against Joaquin Andujar. Inside 1-1. Steve Carlton with a chance to become the Major League's 16th 300-game winner. Raines brushing himself off at second. Fouled away, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Cardinals basically at this point in the season are playing for a little bit of pride. Boy, what a disastrous road trip they had prior to going back to Busch Stadium. They did beat the Mets the last couple of nights there to turn things around a little bit for them, but they really went south when the race heated up this year.
8 games back, and St. Louis 3 games under 500. 1-2 on Oliver, 2 down, runner at second base. Breaking pitch down the right field line. Raines will score. Oliver into second base. Parker into the corner to get it. Oliver's going to go for 3. And he's in standing with a 2-out triple.
very tough hitter, as always, on the inside part of the plate, and he really turned on it. Just got it past Jason Thompson. Between Jason and the line, it rolls into the bullpen, and by the time Dave tracks it down, Raines had scored, and on his way to third with a triple is Al Oliver.
RBI number 80 for Oliver, so Montreal comes back with a run, and it's a 5-1 ball game. Now the batter, Tim Wallach, batting .274, 19 home runs, 69 runs batted in. By the way, the base hit for Oliver, he is now 7 for 11 against Rick Rhoden this season. And Wallach has also been tough on Rhoden, 5 for 11. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Wallach stands a long, long way from home plate, deep in the batter's box.
Good breaking pitch away, and it's 1-2.
You'd have to think that he could never hit that pitch from where he stands.
Typical Wallach uppercut swing. And Rick went back outside, missed with a fastball, 2-2. Oliver standing at third with 2 outs. Tony sets up inside, and Rhoden catches the inside corner, strike 3. Montreal comes up with a run on 1 hit and 1 man left on base. Rhoden strikes out Tim Wallach, and after 1 inning of play, it's the Pirates 5 and Montreal 1.
Take off with the most exhilarating new car of the year, the Datsun Turbo ZX. Now available with 5-speed in 2 or 4-seater. The 5-speed Turbo ZX. This year, shift into something awesome. Some things speak for themselves.
An our extra health tip from Thrift Drug.
At Thrift Drug, we sell all these vitamins. And you know what? Chances are you don't need any of them. If you eat a well-balanced diet, you're probably getting all the vitamins you need. But if your diet's been out of balance, or there's some other reason to supplement your vitamin intake, talk to your doctor or our pharmacist. If you want vitamins, Thrift has them. But we want you to take what you need and need what you take. Trust Thrift Drug.
This is it, another Giant Eagle home run sweepstakes inning. Mae Muse of McKees Rocks is our contestant. There are $600 in the jackpot, $600 worth of Giant Eagle groceries, and in addition, certificates for 24 12-ounce cans of Pepsi free. Certificates redeemable at your grocer.
Might point out too, Lanny, that since this is our last regularly scheduled televised game for 1983, we will give away the money to somebody tonight. We've had a special drawing in case no home run is hit, and we're going to give away the cash for sure tonight. For the groceries for sure.
All right, Rick Rhoden leads off the inning, takes ball 1. Pirates 5, Expos 1. Mae Muse might be thinking that the Giant Eagle jackpot inning came an inning too late for her. Maybe not. Fouled back 1-1. By the way, we've been told from our technicians downstairs that the problem was of concern to Frank Pulley. Apparently was something on the scoreboard. Either a picture or a particular slide was left up too long, bothering the hitters. Fly ball to center. Dawson backpedaling, and Rhoden is out, number 1.
Well, as you pointed out, Lanny, the truth of the matter is the only person that bothered was Frank Pulley, because the Pirates had 3 hits, a couple home runs, and scored 5 runs in the inning. They can put those pictures back up there as far as they're concerned.
Yes, that's right. Go to the top of the Pirate batting order now, and Marvell Wynn walked and scored in the first inning. 5-3-0 for the Pirates. 1-1-0 for the Expos. Marvell batting .249. Dodgers leading Atlanta 1-0 after 2 at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. Foul back, strike one. American League East, Baltimore leads Detroit by 7.5. Oriole magic number is 3. American League West, the Chicago White Sox have already clinched the West. Down low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Inside, 2 balls and a strike. The National League has already determined that if there is a 2-way tie between the Pirates and Phillies, then a 1-game playoff will be played at Veterans Stadium on Monday, October the 3rd. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and a bouncer outside of first, 2-2.
And if it should wind up in a 3-way tie, which really seems unlikely because of this 3-game series in Montreal this weekend, then they would set up the playoffs based on the record among the 3 teams against each other. And the Pirates at this point in time leading the Expos 8-7 in the season series. They've done well here, winning 5 out of 6 as we start this final series of 83.
Bill Burton's ball club 4 games out with 9 games to play. Fly ball left field, Rains right there, 2 down. Nobody on. Top of the second, Pirates 5 and the Expos 1. And now the batter, Johnny Ray. Johnny had a single in the first inning. May Muse is our contestant. $600 worth of Giant Eagle groceries in the jackpot. Johnny's batting .278. In the last 10 games, Johnny's average has jumped from .269 to .278.
That time he got that breaking pitch down where he wanted it. It's been up around the batter's eyes through much of the first inning and 2/3, but he got that one down.
Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, Lanny, the fans in Montreal may be disappointed by what happened last night, but it's a pretty good crowd in Olympic Stadium this evening. Of course, they're averaging about 30,000 a game here this year.
Final 3 home games for the Expos. Pitchers up high, 2-1. Montreal will be in St. Louis Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week, and then finish up in New York. 2-1. Sanderson, 6-6 on the year. 56 major league victories. 2-1 pitch. Foul ball, left field line, back into the seats.
Our network station lineup tonight: KDKA TV in Pittsburgh, WJAC TV in Johnstown, Altoona, WDTV in Clarksburg, Weston, West Virginia, and WSEE in Erie, Pennsylvania. We want to say a special thanks to all of those fine people for being with us throughout the entire 1983 season, and we look forward to seeing you again in 1984.
We'll be opening on the West Coast in 1984.
So we'll see if we can't do a couple of TV games out there.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. And high and outside, full count.
I think one more trip to the West Coast for this year would be nice, too.
Yes, it would. Looks like the Dodgers are in control in the National League West at the moment. 3-2 pitch. And fouled back out of play. Sanderson giving up 3 hits and 2 home runs in the first inning. Walked a pair of batters, but has now retired the last 4 Pirate hitters thanks to the great catch by Terry Francona on the ball that Hebner hit in the first inning. 5-1 Bucks lead. Fouled away again, 3-2. Middle portion of the year, Johnny Ray was being platooned at second base with Jim Morrison, but for the most part in September it's been Johnny at second base. Morrison's helped out at third. And Ray walks third, issued by Sanderson.
So far in the ballgame, every man who has walked has come around to score.
umpire Dave Parker. Dave not happy with a couple of calls from Frank Pulley in the first inning, but Parker went down swinging on strikes.
You don't suppose that was Dave that Frank went over to talk to in the first inning?
Could have been.
How about Dave yesterday when he ran into the wall in Wrigley Field and the Penguins circled the bases for an inside the park home run?
How about, did you see the next play?
Yes.
That's the one that I really enjoyed. Parker went back to the wall and made the catch, and I was positive he had made the catch, but then he gave that aw shucks routine as if he didn't, and Bob Engel, the second base umpire, indicated home run, and Keith Moreland circled the bases as if he had a home run.
I'm sure Dave was tired of going into the ivy at that point.
Fortunately for Dave, it was not poison ivy. Ray at first with 2 down. 5-1 the Pirates lead. Bucks going long ball in the first inning. Sanderson still struggling, and it's 1 ball, no strikes.
Pirates have hit 119 home runs this year, and Montreal, despite some power with people like Wallach and Dawson as a team, only 100 home runs this season.
Swing and a miss, 1-1.
Against Parker, Sanderson's been able to get that fastball in just the right spot. Struck him out on that same pitch first time up.
And once again, Bill Verdon tells the bullpen to go to work. Left-hander Chris Welch is throwing. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's the pitch, and Parker takes high. 2 balls and a strike. There's the left-hander Welch. He was up in the first inning and throwing once again here in the second. Pirates are 5-1 this year at Olympic Stadium. John mentioned earlier the Bucks 8-7 against Montreal overall. Range in left center field. No home run in our Giant Eagle jackpot inning, but for May Muse, certificates for 24 12-ounce cans of Pepsi free. Certificates redeemable at your grocer in our next Giant Eagle sweepstakes inning will be worth $700. The Pirates, no runs, no hits, a walk and 1 man left on. After an inning and a half, it's the Pirates 5 and Montreal 1.
The look you want in performance basketball, running, and court shoes. At Kinney, the great American shoe store.
Stadia.
At Kinney, and only at Kinney.
You've always known that Giant Eagle's a great place to save. But what you may not know is that it's now a great place to withdraw, deposit, and more. Giant Eagle presents Cash Stream, the machine that lets you do your banking where you do your shopping. This one machine lets you withdraw, deposit, check your balance, and much more because it connects you with your account at over 50 banks around town. But it's only available at one major supermarket in town, Giant Eagle. Cash Stream. Now, you don't have to go to the bank to go to the bank.
This is KDKA TV2, Pittsburgh.
Bill Verdon, manager of the Expos, coming out having a conversation with home plate umpire Frank Pulley. Bill Verdon, the former Pirates, of course, led the Pirates to the 1972 National League Eastern Division title and was fired by the Bucks in 1973. Verdon managed the Yankees and then was the Astros manager from August of 75 to August of 82. Terry Francona made the great catch in the first inning. He leads off the bottom of the second, batting .251, 2 home runs, and 20 runs batted in. Bunted back, strike 1. Terry Francona this year against the Pittsburgh Pirates is batting .348, 8 for 23. Breaking pitch, 0-2. Good chance that Terry's mom and dad are tuned in tonight. Good to have them with us, Tito and Roberta Francona. outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rick Roden 11-13 has the 4-run lead. Bucks 5, Expos 1. Right field, Dave Parker. 1 down. Now the batter is shortstop Doug Flynn. Batting .239, no home runs, 26 runs batted in. Yeah, they should be starting in about 5 or 10 minutes at Busch Stadium. The Phillies and the Cardinals. Steve Carlton against Joaquin Andujar. Number 1 on the all-time win list in Major League Baseball is the great Cy Young, 511. Walter Johnson is second, 416. Steve Carlton with a chance to become the big league's 16th 300-game winner. Ground ball to second. Johnny Ray on to Jason Thompson, 2 down. In a way, it would be only appropriate that Carlton win number 300 against the team that he started with, the St. Louis Cardinals, and Lefty won his first 99